Where are 1% of American adults?
Oh, I imagine we could find out, couldn't we? We could use Google Earth, because some of them are quite big. There's one. He's got his own postcode.
1% of the population, which is... What's the population? It's about
300 million, isn't it?
So you're talking about between 2.5 and 3 million, say?
Jail.
Yes. G for jail. English spelling of jail, of course, but it is G for jail.
Really? That many people? 3 million people are locked up?
Well, 2.3, which is 1 in every 99.1 adults.
All of those guys there are innocent as well, because they all were arrested for having switchblades, but they've all only got one arm.
Well spotted. Proportionally, the Americans imprisoned more than twice as many as South Africans, more than 3 times as many as the Iranians, more than 6 times as many as the Chinese. No society in history has imprisoned more of its citizens than the United States of America.
We do pretty well, though, don't we? We sort of top the European League.
We're ahead of China, Turkey and India.
Yes.
Yeah, with 148 prisoners per 100,000.
It's the 3 strikes and they're out.
That's been
really
the problem, yeah.
I mean, a legal system based on baseball just seems bizarre.
Yes.
People don't seem to understand the law. It's all very complicated. What's simple? What do people like? Baseball. Right then. Here's the rule.
3 strikes and you're out, yeah.
Mental.
What it means is if the first 2 strikes, the first 2 crimes you're convicted of are serious enough, the third one, no matter how trivial, will get a life sentence, 25 years or more. So, for example, Leandro Andrade is serving 2 consecutive 25-year terms for shoplifting 9 videotapes. Or...
He took 9?
Yes. Kevin Webber, 26 years for stealing 4 chocolate chip cookies. It's astonishing.
It's really stupid, isn't it? Because if you know you're on this sort of deal...
Yes.
Yeah.
Take 5.
Yes,
That is
the idea. Do another murder. Do a bank job. There's no point...
There's no point doing anything trivial.
If
No,
you're
I
going
know.
to get caught.
It is a bit bonkers. But the racial numbers are a bit worrying. And the gender numbers, it's 1 in 30 men aged 20 to 34 is behind bars. But for black males, that's 1 in 9. 1 in 9. There are more 17-year-old black people in jail than in college in America. So 5% of the world are American, 25% of all prisoners
Isn't the real
are American.
controversy with this the business end of it?
Well, that's true. It's also, as you say, right, it is a business.
Because it's not just licence plate, they make loads of stuff.
Well, one of the things I should have said when talking about contraband is that you're not allowed to bring into America anything that's been made by forced labour or prisons. But in America, you could almost say, if you were so minded, that they've reinvented the slave trade. They produce, for example, 100% of all military helmets, ammunition belts, bulletproof vests, ID tags and other items in uniform, 93% of domestically produced paints, 36% of home appliances, 21% of office furniture, which allows the United States to compete with factories in Mexico because, of course, obviously the workers can't refuse to work for 25 cents an hour.
I'd very much like to say something hilarious, but something must be done.
It is.
We...
It
feels a bit more question-timey this evening.
It is a bit amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's slavery by the back door.
Exactly what it is.
Which is another video that I've got.
The Greeks used it for earache. Columbus took 80 tons of it to America, and Henry VIII made it compulsory. What am I talking about?
Oh, hang on a second. What's the theme of the show? It's joints?
Yes.
I'm going to guess marijuana.
Oh, marijuana is the right answer. Cannabis, yes.
So he took 80 tons to America?
Yes.
You're saying that he's
Columbus
a
did.
trafficker? Saying Columbus is a drug trafficker?
He must have had a very big sphincter.
It was pretty enormous.
Pretty nervous when you got a custody, I would imagine.
Well, as you probably know, cannabis plant is also used for the creation of hemp and ropes. He had tons of it just on his ship alone, of rope made from hemp. And also, it was made under King James, it was made compulsory for the colonials to grow it and to use it. They mostly wore hemp clothing. And hemp was used as an oil, as a lubricant, and all kinds of things. As you can buy hemp oil now. But by the middle of the 19th century, cannabis was recommended by the US Pharmacopoeia for the following disorders: neuralgia, tetanus, typhus, cholera, rabies, dysentery, alcoholism, anthrax, leprosy, incontinence, snakebite, gout, tonsillitis, and insanity. So
That seemed to be a list of pretty much everything, though.
It
I would
did,
imagine if
didn't
you
it?
went into the chemist, it sounds like they only had one thing. What have you got? Well, I'll have a think.
well, there's a Greek
This.
word for that, panacea, a cure-all, literally. And so they did more or less think it was a panacea, as they did so many drugs, as they did heroin when that came out, and cocaine.
Well, in defence of both of those, it will take the edge off.
But there are still people who believe it. People are very keen for the legalisation of medicinal marijuana.
It seems weird that we haven't got medicinal marijuana, but we've got medicinal heroin.
Yes, isn't
That's
it?
kind of an odd quirk, isn't it?
I
It's a weird
suppose so,
thing.
except that, of course, there is no real painkiller available except the one that we get from the poppy, which includes morphine and heroin. We just can't make a drug that does the same thing.
Mummy's hugs.
Mummy's hugs and kisses. Oh, sweetheart. That's so
And
lovely.
then if they don't work, heroin.
Oh, you've got it spot on the money, Jack. Absolutely.
What's so darn shocking about this map?
Is darn important?
Darn is very
Anything?
important,
So
yes.
it's something to do with knitting?
Knitting?
No, not that
Weaving.
kind of darn, where in the United States, what might darn be for?
Darn.
Darn.
People who say darn.
Yes, people who say darn. It's a euphemism for damn from 1781, and this is its jizz score, OK? It's statistics, people, OK? There was an analysis done of 9 billion words
9 billion
in American
ejaculations.
tweets.
Blue's bad, but orange is really bad.
9 billion words in American tweets, and then they geocoded them, so they analysed where they are, pinpointing on a map, and then they displayed them as heat maps. So this is darn, and if you look at the more the word is used, the darker the red colour, and the less it's used, the darker the blue. So it shows that darn is used very heavily in the northern central states, well, in tweets at the very least. So have a look at this one. What word do you think this map represents? There's another American swear word.
Golly.
You're close, it's gosh.
Gosh.
It's gosh.
Puritan.
So heavily used around Texas, you can see where the red is, and hardly at all up in New England. They don't use gosh very much.
quite like that.
I like these ones.
Is this words that people use when they jizz? Is that what it is? Gosh darn it. I'm sorry, Miss Adam.
This show's changing, isn't it?
And I'm just trying to wrestle it back. So have a look at this one. Very heavily used in New England, hardly used in the southeast at all.
Goddamn.
It's asshole.
Asshole.
Yeah. That, and who thought
Why
there
do
was
they
a...
not use it? They don't say asshole in Arkansas. then.
Georgia.
Or the Carolinas.
Yeah, not used in Florida.
It's not used in Montana because there's nobody there.
That's true. It's not often you see a map of the jizz score for arsehole, is it? It's not a...
Not now Stephen's gone.
So here's the question is, do you think that people who swear a lot are more articulate or less articulate?
More.
Why?
Because they've got more words.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Wank and bloody and things like that. People who don't swear
You would-
haven't got those words.
You were doing so well, and now you're going to hardly appear in the programme at all. No, there's a swearing fluency test, and if you do the test and you ask people to write down how many swear words they can think of in 2 minutes, the people who will succeed best are the people who are the most articulate. Although it depends on what language you speak. So Japanese, very, very few swear words.
Dutch bargees, they can swear uninterrupted, most of them, for 2 minutes without repetition or hesitation.
Can they really?
Yeah, Dutch is really good. They've got, what's that word? Schwaffling.
What does it mean?
Well, you certainly couldn't say it on Dutch television. It means to bang your penis against the Taj Mahal.
Who amongst us hasn't had that urge?
Farmers, gentlemen, hate Shakespeare. There's a picture of American farmers hating Shakespeare. Something to do with Shakespeare caused immense trouble to American farming. It's not Shakespeare's fault at all.
Not some farming practice that's hidden away in the sonnets or something.
It was an eccentric drug manufacturer called Eugene Schieffelin, and he decided that America should contain examples of every bird species named in the works of Shakespeare. And one particular species didn't exist in America, And he thought, oh, I'll introduce these. He introduced 100 to Central Park, and there are now estimated something like 200 million of
It's
them.
not the common pigeon, is it?
No, they come in huge flocks.
Geese,
Starlings.
ducks.
Starlings is the right answer.
Starlings.
Starlings.
And they don't like them because they eat the seeds?
Unfortunately, what they do is they befoul everything in their droppings that they don't eat. They're such huge flocks, vast flocks.
I was on Brighton Pier one time,
Yeah.
and there are lots of starlings there, and at dusk they do that.
They're beautiful.
And it's really amazing to watch
Yeah, it's a
if you stand on the
wonderful
pier. And then someone said that starlings come from hundreds of miles away to join in this
flock.
coastal flocking.
Yeah.
And they come from as far away as Germany and Poland.
A
and
lot of
fly
the Polish
around
ones are
and-
coming over here now and taking away a lot of the... a lot of the British starlings' jobs. You'll see a lot of British starlings just sat on the prom like this, come bloody typical.
Yeah, but they're the lazy British starlings who don't want to
Yeah,
work.
why don't they just get up and join in, you know? But they won't, will they? It's typical, typical.
No, you're right. The flocks are up to 1 million, some of them. I mean, enormous flocks.
Are they just having fun? Or is it a good way of eating?
No, in the case of fish, I know that what they're really doing is presenting, as it were, an enormous fish that sort of glistens and frightens some predators, and in other cases it confuses and dazzles. And they're a lot safer than...
Starlings are basically scared of sharks.
I'm not so sure about the
Shark
shocking
might leap out of the West Pier.
You may laugh, but when was a starling last killed by a shark?
That's true.
So it works. You're absolutely right. It's 100%. It is 100% historically proven that this shall keep us safe from sharks. Come on, boys. Thum! And they're like that.
So, good, excellent. Starlings were brought to America in an attempt to introduce all the birds in Shakespeare to the US. They're now a major pest.